Why do some women leave loyal men for men who treat them worse? Why does love feel like a battlefield, where the good guys lose and the bad boys win? Here's the brutal truth they don't want you to know. It's not about love, it's about biology. Charles Darwin exposed it. Modern dating proves it, and if you don't understand it, you'll keep getting blindsided. This video will open your eyes to the hidden instinct shaping every woman's choices, and how men like you can finally take back control. Stay sharp. What you're about to hear may change how you see attraction forever. This isn't about blaming women. It's about exposing a truth hidden beneath centuries of social politeness. Hypergamy, the instinct to mate up, to choose not just love but survival, advantage, and perceived superiority. Charles Darwin never used the word hypergamy, but he exposed its foundation. Nature doesn't reward fairness, it rewards fitness. And when it comes to reproduction, women, subconsciously or not, are hardwired to choose the man who signals power, status, and security. Not necessarily the nicest guy, but the one who can provide, protect, and elevate. Let's go deeper. Think about it. Why do rich, dominant, or even emotionally unavailable men often seem to attract more attention? Because their behavior unconsciously signals strength, independence, and abundance. And for many women, those signals are intoxicating. It's not that kindness isn't appreciated, it's that in the hierarchy of attraction, power often speaks louder than niceness. Now here's the uncomfortable part. If you're a man who leads with validation, constantly giving, constantly chasing, hoping to be chosen through kindness alone, you're playing a dangerous game. Because in the language of evolutionary psychology, chasing signals lack. And lack doesn't trigger desire, it triggers indifference. On the flip side, a man who walks away when disrespected, who values himself, who doesn't need her approval to feel whole, that's the man who makes her nervous, curious, excited, because he mirrors ancient strength, even if he never lifts a sword. Pause for a second. Let's imagine two men. One sends good morning texts, buys flowers weekly, plans every date down to the minute. The other disappears for a day or two, focuses on his goals, lets her wonder, lets her chase. Which one do you think stirs more emotion? Now don't misunderstand. This isn't about playing games or being cruel. It's about understanding that being overly available can kill desire. Because uncertainty breeds attraction. Just like fire needs oxygen, passion needs space, and the more you suffocate her with attention, the more she'll seek freedom, sometimes in another man's arms. Still think being the nice guy guarantees loyalty? Let's rewind to Darwin again. In nature, females are selective, very selective. The female peacock doesn't choose the peacock who follows her around. She chooses the one who stands out, the one whose feathers catch the light, the one who signals value without begging for attention. Hypergamy is that instinct, modernized. It's why women will test men, not to be cruel, but to measure them, to see if he flinches, wavers, begs. If you pass the test, you rise in value. If you fail, you become invisible. And that's the part they rarely admit, because admitting it would mean owning just how calculated attraction really is. You see, society teaches women to say they want the sweet guy, the consistent guy, the one who listens. But biology whispers something different. And when those whispers grow loud, reason is often left in the dust. So what does this mean for you? If you want to be chosen, not just tolerated, you must become the man who doesn't need to be chosen. You must tap into the primal language of strength, mystery, and self-respect. But here's the twist. Just when you think you've cracked the code, you'll realize the game is deeper, darker, and more deceptive than you ever imagined. Because hypergamy has layers, and one of them involves betrayal masked as empowerment. So let's peel back the next layer, the one society avoids like a landmine. Because if you think hypergamy is just about choosing a better provider, think again. It's not always about money, muscles, or mastery. It's about perception, the illusion of value. And sometimes, the man who seems emotionally detached, socially validated, or even a little dangerous, outshines the one who's actually loyal and invested. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Many modern women are encouraged to keep their options open, to never settle, and to always level up. On the surface, this sounds empowering, but underneath, it's hypergamy disguised as self-growth. And when that instinct collides with social media, where validation comes in likes, comments, and DMs from higher-value men, it becomes weaponized. Because now, a woman no longer compares her man to the men in her town. She compares him to men with yachts in Dubai, abs sculpted by Photoshop, and wallets thickened by generational wealth. Fantasy becomes the new benchmark, and her perception of what she deserves begins to shift, regardless of who's been loyal, supportive, or present all along. You ever hear a woman say, "He's a great guy, but something's missing?" That something is usually tied to instinct, excitement, status, challenge. And when a woman feels that a man no longer meets her hypergamous instinct, no matter how good he is, she'll start emotionally checking out long before the breakup. That's why so many men are blindsided when a long-term partner suddenly detaches, cheats, or leaves. She didn't just wake up one day and decide to go. The emotional distance began months, sometimes years before. But you didn't notice. Why? Because you were too busy trying to keep her comfortable instead of keeping her interested. You thought love was about consistency. And while that's true long-term, attraction is about tension, about polarity, unpredictability, and emotional energy. The hypergamous instinct doesn't turn off after she chooses you. It stays, it watches, it compares, it waits for signs of weakness. So if you get too comfortable, if you stop leading, stop growing, stop embodying strength, she'll start scanning. Not always consciously, but biologically. And that's when a coworker starts looking a little more appealing. That's when the ex who suddenly DMs her again becomes interesting. That's when she begins to fantasize about what life might look like with someone else, someone who challenges her again. Unfair? Absolutely. But it's nature. And nature doesn't apologize. Imagine if lions dated like humans. Hey, I brought you antelope 3 nights in a row, massaged your paws, and stayed loyal. Why are you hanging around that rogue lion with the scar and the crazy mane? The lioness wouldn't answer. She'd already be gone. The truth is, when a woman respects you, attraction flows. But the moment she stops respecting you, no matter how much she loves you, that attraction dies a slow, painful death. And this is where most men suffer. They think being dependable is enough, but hypergamy doesn't care about enough. It's always scanning for more strength, more certainty, more confidence. So you need to stop asking, what do women want? Wrong question. The real question is, what does she respond to instinctively, even if she'd never admit it out loud? And the answer? Dominance, tempered by discipline. Confidence without arrogance. Purpose without apology. A man who lives with direction, not desperation. Because when she senses you don't need her validation, when your world doesn't orbit around her emotions, she starts feeling something few women can resist: respect. And with respect comes loyalty. Not the fake loyalty that fades when another opportunity knocks, but the kind that endures because she knows she's with a man other women want. And she fought to earn him. Hypergamy isn't just about who she chooses, it's about who she fears losing. If she doesn't fear losing you, you've already lost her. So how do you become that man? It's not about pretending, it's not about manipulation, it's about becoming undeniably high value in mindset, in mission, and in self-worth. Because once you step into that version of yourself, everything changes. But we're not done yet, because the final act reveals the coldest reality of all. What happens when hypergamy is no longer instinct, but strategy? And when that strategy is used against you? Now, here's where things turn sinister. In the past, hypergamy operated subconsciously, instinctual, reactive, driven by survival. But today, in the age of dating apps, self-help gurus, and TikTok therapists, it's evolved into a calculated strategy, a playbook. And far too many modern women are using it, not out of malice, but because society rewards it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some women seem to bounce from one better man to the next without blinking? That's not luck. That's learned behavior. You see, once hypergamy is no longer just biology, but a conscious game, the stakes change completely. And for men who don't know the rules, it's financial, emotional, even spiritual suicide. Because now it's not just about who makes her feel something primal. It's about optimization. She may love you, but if a man walks into her life who is taller, richer, more influential, or even just gives her more dopamine in the moment, she might recalculate. Women today are constantly bombarded with messages like, "You deserve more," "Never settle," "Upgrade your life," and "Your man." Translation? Never be satisfied, even if he's loyal, hardworking, and honest. And this mindset turns hypergamy into a weapon. She might stay with you, for now. But if she senses you've plateaued, if your ambition dies, if you start depending on her approval instead of your mission, she may not leave immediately, but she'll start building her escape plan quietly. Emotionally, financially, even sexually. This is why some men end up paying for the wedding and then paying again for the divorce. Imagine going into a chess match thinking you're playing checkers. That's what modern dating feels like for most men. While you're focused on love, commitment, and trust, she may be weighing metrics, status, clout, connections. You're playing for heart, she's playing for position. Now, this doesn't mean all women are like this. Far from it. But hypergamy doesn't care about morality. It cares about opportunity. And in today's hyper-connected world, opportunity is just one swipe away. That's why emotionally intelligent men who study female psychology, no longer get blindsided. They recognize the signs of shifting attraction. They know when her respect is fading. They sense when they're being auditioned for replacement. And instead of reacting in desperation, they respond with discipline. You see, the only antidote to hypergamy as strategy is self-sufficiency. Because a man who doesn't need her, who values himself first, can't be manipulated by her options. He doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, he doesn't perform tricks like a trained dog hoping for her approval. He walks away when his value is ignored. And paradoxically, that's the man she chases. Because distance creates desire, and respect is born in restraint. Now, here's the final twist most men never see coming. When you become high value, when you master your mindset and your purpose, when you radiate quiet strength and grounded energy, she'll either rise to meet you or reveal that she was only ever with you to leverage your rise. And you have to be ready for both. Because some women don't want to build with a man. They want to meet him at the top and then take credit for the climb. So ask yourself this: is she with you for who you are or who you could be? And if you lost it all tomorrow, would she still respect you? That question will expose her character faster than any test. Because in the end, hypergamy is just the start. The real game is emotional leverage, and the only way to win is to play from a position of unshakable power. But there's one final truth, one darker than all the rest. It's what happens when a man awakens to this reality and chooses silence over reaction, stillness over validation, purpose over approval. That's when you become dangerous in a world that trains you to be dependent. And when you reach that level, she either becomes your teammate or your test. So what happens next when you stop chasing and start leading? When you stop chasing and start leading, everything shifts. Not just how women respond to you, but how the world responds to you. Because suddenly, you're no longer negotiating your worth. You know your worth. You've detached from the illusion that love must be earned through sacrifice. You've escaped the trap that says your value depends on how much you can do for her. Now let's be clear. Being a high-value man doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean ghosting, manipulating, or disrespecting women. It means respecting yourself so deeply that anything less than mutual effort and admiration becomes disqualified. You see, the final stage in mastering this dark truth about hypergamy is not rage. It's clarity. You understand that women are wired to follow strength, emotional, mental, spiritual, not bravado, not bank accounts. True, grounded, unshakable inner leadership. You're not here to compete with other men. You're not here to beg for a woman's loyalty. You're here to build a kingdom so complete that a woman must earn her place in it. Let me ask you this, and really think about it. Would you rather be needed because you provide, or wanted because you command respect just by existing? That's the power of stepping outside the victim mindset. That's the power of mastering your frame, your mission, your masculine core. Because here's what women won't tell you, but Darwin would. She doesn't want to lead. Not in love. She wants to feel safe in your leadership, to know that she can trust you, follow you, believe in you. Not because you demand it, but because your life proves it. And when she senses that strength, her hypergamous instinct relaxes. She doesn't scan the room anymore. She doesn't compare you to every man on her feed, because she knows, deep in her biology, that she's already chosen the top of the mountain. But get this wrong? And no matter how much you give, she'll drift. No matter how long you stay, she'll stray. Because hypergamy has no patience for stagnation, it only respects ascension. So what now? Now is the moment where men either wake up or fall deeper into delusion. You can keep living for validation, bending over backwards, hoping she sees your heart, or you can build a life so magnetic, so purpose-driven, that she either aligns or evaporates. You don't need to hate women to understand hypergamy. You don't need to be bitter to be aware. You need to be awake. Because when you understand this truth, truly understand it, You stop blaming women for being women, and you start taking ownership for being a man. A man who doesn't beg for loyalty, a man who doesn't negotiate attraction, a man who moves with such intentionality that he doesn't chase anyone, because those meant for him follow. And now, you know. You know the primal instinct behind her choices. You know the cost of complacency. You know the silence between her tests, and most of all, you know who you must become. So step into it. Not for revenge, not for approval, but because this world needs more men who lead from wisdom, not weakness. From presence, not performance. And from mission, not manipulation. This isn't just about dating. This is about becoming undeniable. So if this woke you up, don't let it fade. Tap into your potential, reclaim your power, and protect your energy. Because there's a war being fought every day for your mind, your worth, your masculinity. And the men who win aren't the ones who chase women. They're the ones women fight to keep. Now share this with the men who need it. Comment your thoughts below, because iron sharpens iron. And if you're ready for more real, raw psychological truths about dating, loyalty, and masculine power, subscribe, because we're just getting started.